For me, this exhibition is not retrospective. I think I'm too young and too busy to do really retrospective. It's really an exhibition about my inspiration, where I get my inspiration, how I work. Really, it's really about all those things. I think you can look at the exhibition in different ways. You can really go more for the art, or you can go more for the clothes. Of course, I hope that most people go really for the relation between the clothes and the works of art as we show them. For me, associations are very important. Clashing elements is very important. And I think this you see very clearly now in the exhibition. That, okay, sometimes it's a gentle clash, but for me there is still a clash. And that's for me one of the starting points of my work. Mixing up is important. Tension is even more important. Of course, sometimes you put things which you really love and things which you think is more interesting. Mm-hmm. So, but I think at the end, I learned to love nearly everything now. Inspiration comes now from everywhere. I think with the internet, of course, it becomes more global, and also, of course, making collections, you don't do it on your own. We have a creative team, and now also the creative team, of course, it became also very international. I think we have 6 or 7 different nationalities. So I think that's the same thing for fashion all over the world. I think fashion really became global. To make the selection for the pieces which I put in the exhibition was not an easy thing, because of course I have my favorite collections of the past which I made. I have pieces which I really love to use in exhibition from the museum collections. Also some artworks which I was dreaming of. But of course you have to show the relation between those 3 things. From some collections, for instance, especially early ones, I didn't have enough existing pieces in my archive, so that we couldn't really illustrate it. Other things were maybe more abstract, to see the relation between then the clothes from the collections of the museum and our collections. So for me, I think it's also important that when you, as a spectator of the exhibition, that you have an interesting experience, that you really see the links and everything. So for that, of course, we were not limited, but we had to be more kind of selective. It's not that I want to say that my clothes are art, completely not. I don't want to say that I put myself on the same level as the art pieces are there. But I think it's nice to see that that fashion is more than just pretty clothes. And I think if we can obtain already that as a result, I'm very happy. The biggest challenge for me was getting the balance right. I think that you can speak to the different audiences which are going to visit the exhibition, that it also makes sense. I don't want that the art is there just for decorative reasons, that it just looks like making the picture nicer. I think really everything has to, every piece which is there has to tell a story and has to tell a reason why it's there. But on the other hand, you can't make it too complicated either. So I think to find that balance was quite complicated. To say honestly, when I saw for the beginning of this week for the first time my clothes behind the glass in a museum, I was a little bit like overwhelmed of it. I have to admit, it's a rather strange feeling to be confronted with your own clothes, what you're so used to seeing in your own archive, now really on the dummies in the museum cases. So, and now even more with the art pieces which go with them. It's really incredible. For me, one of the nicest surprises was the enthusiasm of so many people to collaborate. Because this scared me really, because it's a very difficult thing what we are doing, mixing art and fashion. And I think a lot of people are going to agree or not agree with the things what we put together. But then I was really afraid of that. But just asking the question to artists, to gallerists, to museum people, the enthusiasm was so big, and I think that made it all happen. I really wanted to create something completely different. I don't think that an exhibition like we are going to show now is already done somewhere else by combining art and fashion and all these elements. Also, the spaces of the museum are very specific, so you really have to think specifically for that space. When we started to put the exhibition together, the beginning part was just a confrontation of the pieces of the collection of the museum, the clothes, and then my collections. Then, of course, I was afraid that people were going to think that my only inspiration, in fact, were clothes from the past, from important designers like Dior, like Saint Laurent, like Paul Poiret, and people like that. So, and I said, yeah, in fact, my inspiration goes much wider. It's movies, it's music, it's art, all these things. But of course, for me, it was also a difficult thing to show posters and then, besides that, the real clothes from the museum collection. Because for me, an important painting is as important than the tailleur bar from Dior. So I think they have the same value. So when you show one in real, you have also the other one in real. I think there, of course, we had also very good help of Pamela, who has more the experience of making exhibitions. For me, it was like the first time of putting an exhibition together. So we will see what's going to happen. But I think there, with the advice of Pamela, we did a good balance, I think. In the beginning, of course, you want to do everything and you want to show everything. You have to edit. For that reason, we said, okay, let's really work with painting, with film, with images, which are very important to me, and not really start still even then with 3D elements like furniture or statues even. The most impressive thing for me was the archives. Seeing the archives, that's incredible, and that was like I'm very happy that I was able to go through them, to have a look at all those pieces. That's amazing. For me, one of the most incredible things was to open a drawer and to go through pieces of fabric from the Ottoman Empire, and it's all things what you know from a book, but there you see them in real, and that's, of course, that's amazing.